Tuesday, the 18th, Capital Reef National Park in the beautiful state of Utah. Vanessa and Heather are here with me. Heather in particular loves Petroglyphs! So as we're driving, I believe this is Highway 24 or 25. So we were driving along 24 and 25. We discovered we were going to go through Capital Reef. We've been here before, but it's not always easy to remember exactly how you get someplace when you do get someplace. We're now on a boardwalk. You can see some grasses growing off to the side. There's the road right there. It's the 2-lane highway. Presumably, as we walk along this, at some point we are going to see etchings in stones along the wall of this rock. Now, I don't think there's going to be any petroglyphs up there, which is about 150 feet overhead. I believe that anybody putting petroglyphs into the rock are pretty much going to do it about the eye level, because they would have literally had to gone and taken primitive tools, but still effective, excuse me, and chip into the rock to create whatever shapes they were interested in forming. Okay, as we walk along, clearly this is a very lush area. You would expect there would be a stream. I do not believe the stream is down below us, although you can see the path that water would flow. Apparently it's seasonal. There's some pretty lush trees here. Couldn't tell you what they are, possibly some kind of oak. There's fingers pointing up at the side of the rock there. Clearly there must be some etching.
You see them? Right above that boulder.
Oh, okay, but it looks like it's been washed out quite a bit. It looks like some kind of long-necked... Are you seeing something that looks rather long-necked up there?
Yeah. There's like a upside-down triangle and some fingers, it looks like.
Oh, maybe I zoomed in too much. Well, there it is.
I know there's some more up here on that face too, but you gotta get past the trees.
Okay, so there is something, but it's... Oh, but it is not... Oh, I'm beginning to see it looks like circles. Probably better relief there. Yeah, I do believe I captured something there. It looked like 4 circles. Back out. I think we're going to get closer to them, as I recall.
So maybe we want to get the binoculars. Maybe. I'm going to just look through my phone, I think.
Yeah, I think I can zoom in on something.
Do you want to use, that's kind of a fun feature. Yeah, so there's patterns over here that we were looking at.
Oh, I see them.
And
yeah,
then
they clearly are etched in.
And then over here there are a bunch of, theriomorphic animal figures. Yeah, we did see them all.
So why do you think, Heather, with your background in psychology, why do you think people would have done this? What would have motivated them to come up in the rock and take out a primitive stone tool and then spend probably at least an hour, probably maybe even longer,
often they
etching?
were in shamanic sites, and it was in the ritual of context of initiation. Am I on there?
You are.
Well, hello.
This is Heather. She's been traveling with us since New Mexico when we're heading back to John Day. She's a long friend of ours, lives in Olympia, Washington, and she a couple of years back got her PhD in archetypal psychology. Well, so you should understand this as well as anybody, shouldn't you?
Well, hello. Yeah, so usually they're in ritual places, sacred sites that are recurring, so people who are initiated come back.
So what do you think they're initiated into?
Well, the depths of their own soul, and so within the context of the shamanic realm, often they're getting in touch with theriomorphic beings, or part animal, part humanoid.
Which represents something to them, right?
Yes, so they've had their unique, if you think of an initiation, like a vision quest, you have your soul's calling, or the equivalent, for your purpose, and then you're marking that. So often, I guess there you could see two contexts. One is where someone comes and they write like a story,
Okay.
like a historical record.
Are you
And-
talking about epistemoontologics?
well,
The
you
relationship
are.
between the stories we tell ourselves and our realities?
To some extent,
Okay.
yes. But my point was that often it could be one person who has that shamanic role of being the guardian of memory, storytelling and keeping, or it could be a place that people come to recurring as a place of initiation, and then they kind of talismanically represent what they've seen in their own vision.
Okay, so we'll talk more about
Okay,
this as we
goodbye.
see some more. Just found another trove. Now these are larger, I think, than the last ones we looked at, right?
They're different. By the way,
Go ahead.
Homo naledi, which is 175 to 241
Contemporaneous
1,000
with
years
the
ago.
origination of Homo sapiens.
way prior.
No,
Actually.
225 to 250 was Homo sapiens. So they must have been a parallel.
But the art is way prior to that, like almost like 200,000 years prior.
So
And it's ritual
even
burial.
Naledi, which was a different routing of the Homo's lineage, was actually doing this kind of art?
Yes, way before. And so they just found it last year in Africa, in a cave of the stars or something. Its name is really poetic. And it was with ritual burial where they were in that fetal position for rebirth. And the art is very geometric.
Wow. Okay. We're going to talk a little bit more about this as we view some more. Now, frankly, the etchings are not really clear enough that we could actually really get a sense of what they represent. Part of it is they're worn, part of it is we're not getting the right sun angle. Think about anything you do, like I do music, or I do astronomy. I put a lot of focus on something, and if you can focus for a longer period of time, you can get a deeper experience with it than if you just like think of it for a microsecond and then stop thinking about it. So basically, from my point of view, if you come out here for an hour or two and you have an image that you want to embed in the stone, it forces you to concentrate and really think about it and coordinate your body in such a way that you can represent it in something like this.
And we talk about continuity of consciousness. This is a continuity of memory and consciousness where we can connect with ancestral paths.
So what you mean by continuity of consciousness is the remembrance of who you truly are.
Right, and
all
this
the
is from a
time.
species perspective.
Okay, but this is from the point of view of passing like a torch of memory and awareness from generation to generation. Okay, now here's an interesting question. There are natural shapes and images in the rock that could possibly be something that someone etched in. For instance, what I'm seeing ahead of me is a long, thin face, and I'm seeing two horns going up, and the face is kind of looking right at us, and part of the face is kind of a light reflective stone, and part of it's a darker, redder stone. Now, who could tell whether that was manually done by somebody trying to depict an image, or whether it was just a natural expression of the forces of nature on rock? Who could tell that? Now, some of the other things we saw were obvious, but this one is kind of a little bit cuspy, isn't it? In terms of its possibility of it actually have been shaped by somebody. So anyway, that's something you can think about. Okay, now we're getting to the end of the walkway. Yeah, why can't it go on and on and on forever? Your tax dollars at work. Now what else are we seeing here?
Let's see. I mean, there's some up there, but that's some human.
Well, I would think if I were somebody, I would have done something down there which was reachable. Let me back out a little bit. So that's right down to the base of the soil there. There's some white rock and there's some red rock. Clearly, that red on that stone is actually a form of deposition, right? Because it looks like it can be scraped away and it can reveal images. Now, if I look once again and just project into the images there, I'm almost seeing like a large two-legged creature, or maybe a four-legged creature. Look at that. Hind legs back there, front legs there, and then a long trunk going up. Do you see what I'm saying? You can almost project into that something that was shaped. It's the same problem we had with the last thing. But if you look up there, there's some circles. You see those circles? Is that a natural expression? If I can get the camera angle right. Oh, I can definitely see one at the top of that rock. Can you see it? Do you think that is something that was done historically, or is that just somebody got up there and started etching something up there?
For sure it's recent, and
oh, it looks like somebody's letters, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It looks like somebody left a mark here. Somebody loves somebody, baby. I don't know.
Yeah. Love is a great thing, but you don't need to carve it over a petroglyph.
Yes, you wouldn't want to do that, because that means you're not really loving what somebody else already loved. All right, so basically, the etchings here that we've seen so far are pretty far between. They're also very low contrast. And there are places, I think we already did a video on YouTube about a place in New Mexico with much starker images of petroglyphs in the stone. But hey, it's great that we kind of came by here. What do you think about that?
It is for sure, and then look over there is...
Oh, that's almost like a scene, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. Look at the horns. They love horns. Now, what do you think horned creatures meant to them, Heather? Why would they have spent so much time depicting the faces of, let's say, elk or deer or horned creatures? What would that represent? Just their food base? They tried to attract the animals by etching them into the stone so they can, kind of like trying to call the weather when you need rain, and it would be like a ritual to call these creatures to
Sometimes it could be more literal like that. Sometimes, like in a vision, you would be given a name, and often it was in kinship with animals.
Oh.
So it would be that you have the attributes of that animal, or like you have
spirit,
the eagle eyes,
or
you have
guide,
or like an animal spirit guide.
Spirit guide that you might identify with. Mm-hmm. So you had elkish qualities.
And they might even believe that there was an
There's
elk
something
deity.
that obviously looks like it was shaped up there as well.
And even it makes me think of the Horn King in the Celtic tradition. You know, some of those relationships continued.
Sure. Okay. Well, I think we have pretty much walked and talked it out for the time being. I'm sure there's a lot more that our friend Heather could tell us about art, because she herself is an artist. So you want to tell us a little bit about some of the artwork you've done in the past? I know you did the Children's Museum in Olympia.
So some of it is visionary art. Visionary art is a genre that is really ancient and emergent, so it's ascending right now. And so it's working with this shamanic practice essentially of receiving a vision quest and reaching into your soul and connecting with the images and then talismanically anchoring them in art as a guiding factor. Now,
one of the things you can do with any art like that is you can quickly and instantly get back in touch with whatever ideal or idea or archetype originally motivated its
art is a memory anchor, and it invokes the original state of consciousness.
Now, as a musician, sometimes I like the music I do much better long after I've done it.
Yes.
So do you ever feel that way about your art, as your visual arts?
Yeah, well, I think it has a numinous energetic quality, and so when you do it, you're often highly related to it, but you may come around to another period where it's relevant, and then it'll become more energetically.
But when you're a musician, everything you do stinks. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, that might be true. That's the crucifixion of the artist.
That's the cross all we artists have to spread our limbs out on, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's very great. Thank you very much, Heather, for sharing your insights with us at this subtle but evocative location here in the petroglyphs at the Capital Reef National Park. And we give thanks to the people of the United States for supporting national parks, the National Park Service, our government, which does do some things right, and I would say among them is the National Park Service.